Know you got my attention. Hate when you be pretending. Girl, you know that you miss it. Why you gotta be distant? Love when you smith.
What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be reacting to a Trash Taste podcast take that's been recirculating on TikTok. And it's a take that I've already kind of spoke on or touched on my TikTok. If you don't follow me on TikTok, make sure you go follow me at Bad Little Gemini on TikTok. Basically, the entire take is that One Piece isn't political, and this has been kind of going the rounds, and there's going to be like two schools of thought here that I'm going to try my best to kind of explain, and then I'm going to also give my take on their take as well. Boom!
There's this one fan channel that made an edit about how I used to talk shit about One Piece, and I started watching it. And those videos independently, this channel.
And that's so real. Any One Piece fan knows that you usually start off at least not necessarily hating One Piece, but you definitely are like, nah, that's way too long. And then you start watching it, and then it becomes one of your favorite animes of all time. This is a very natural process of loving One Piece.
Which is a very political anime, Connor.
That's okay. Well,
What?
you told me what?
There it is. Now, starting off, I just want to say that it's obvious that Connor is kind of the voice of opposition in Trash Taste. So he's just being contrarian for the sake of content. But the problem that is arising online has to deal with the two other co-hosts, mainly one in particular, because Garnt kind of gets it at the end of this clip, but Joey is pretty, pretty just laughing, thinks it's funny. And while it is kind of funny to think what they're about to say, but there's also a lot more context to Joey and his disapproval of One Piece being political that a lot of people are very mad about, and we'll get into that as well.
One Piece is very political.
Yes.
What aspect?
Oh my God. Yes, I love this. Okay. This is gonna piss
Literally every aspect of One Piece is political. Go ahead, talk your shit.
everybody, but I'm so right about this, even though I'm no.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, every single arc, well, other than the first couple of arcs, every single arc quite literally details leftist politics, which I think Oda is. Oda is 100%.
Yes.
Oda is 100% a leftist. First
Yes.
of all, he has a Che Guevara photo in the studio.
All right, so this is something that I've recently just started to figure out, because I didn't know too much about Che Guevara at the first time I was watching this, but Che Guevara is definitely a leftist revolutionary. He's very hated in a lot of spaces, but when you understand kind of what he did and what he was advocating for, it's all leftist ideology. And the thing that you have to understand is this is not a picture of somebody that you would just have if you didn't study or learn a lot about politics in general. Go out of his way and research this, or he came across these things in his own spare time. So you have to understand that ain't nobody's just gonna have a random picture of Che Guevara in their office.
Let him cook. But that means you watch Alabaster, right?
Yeah.
Which is definitely political, but not as aggressively. But it's about resource deprivation, things like that. But
And this, I wouldn't necessarily agree with this take. I think Alabasta is very political because it mirrors the war in the Middle East, the war on terror. It mirrors it pretty well. It involves the world government installing a fascist warlord who is taking up all the resources in the country, and that actually later ends up biting the world government in the ass, similar to how imperialist America was functioning in the Middle East during the during the war on terror.
then quite literally about indigenous populations being removed from their land and violently trying to find autonomy and emancipation through violent means directly against an enemy that is much more powerful than them.
Right.
That is that's a land back movement, which is inherently very political, very leftist.
Absolutely.
I feel like I watched I read a different
Yeah, I know. I was trying to describe this to him. He's like, "What are you talking about?" It's
I was
about
man, I saw funny gum man.
yeah.
killed
No,
that
One
guy.
Piece is about having fun with your friends.
Again, Connor is obviously acting oblivious for the sake of the content. He's trying to open up the floor for Hassan to further drive his point home.
being free.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, first of all, Luffy is a terrorist. I mean, he is.
Yeah. Luffy is a terrorist. I mean, by US standards, Luffy is actually a terrorist. He goes against the status quo. He breaks the law. He's a pirate. And he's trying to free people. He's a liberator. And I think that people don't understand is in the idea of terrorism. They don't understand that the state owns a monopoly on who gets to commit violence. So it's fine when the state commits violence against its people, but it's not fine when the people rise up and, you know, commit some sort of violence towards the state. And this violence could look very different. It doesn't always have to be bombings and just mass, like, actual violence. Sometimes this violence could look like disruption, like stopping traffic, shutting down government buildings. This violence could look different depending on who you look at in history. Yes, there are some very, like, violent individuals who do heinous shit. I'm not trying to condone that, but I'm just trying to explain the nuance in what forms of terrorism looks like to the state. It's basically anybody who's an enemy of the state, and anybody who's an enemy of the state is not looking to uphold the status quo of whatever that state deems acceptable. So yeah, Luffy is a terrorist on every level. Excuse me for interrupting in this part of the video, but I did want to drive home a point on this one that I made, which is why Luffy is a terrorist. So essentially, for an example, I wanted to offer some context from our own history, i.e. through the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party, they did armed demonstration. They pushed socialist ideals to the black community to try and liberate the black community, but also uplift every other marginalized group in America. And through this, they did armed demonstration, they did cop watching, and they offered a lot of mutual aid through, like, teaching people how to self-defense, or just teaching people law and understanding how the government works, right? This party, the Black Panther Party, is labeled as a terrorist group in the eyes of US law, but the KKK is not. And KKK has is upholding a status quo that's been in America's history, which is racism. The KKK gets to burn down black communities, burn crosses on people's doorstep, even was involved in lynchings, right? But they are not a terrorist group in the eyes of America. And that's why I wanted to add that context in there to kind of give you some context of how America has operated over time and why One Piece is inherently political, because those same themes pop up in One Piece.
I mean, he literally is. I mean, he's fighting.
I hate that you're kind of right.
Yes,
I fucking hate that you're kind of right.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a freedom fighter in the
Garnt
most,
having
like,
his
honorable
mind
sense of the
exploded
word.
right now.
He is quite literally fighting against an unjustifiable, corrupt
Yes.
military.
And notice he said in every honorable sense of the word, because there are definitely people who aren't freedom fighters or who aren't fighting for freedom for the sake of their people. There are a lot of terrorists that have very selfish motivations, and that's why I wanted to highlight the nuance of that.
apparatus that is like holding the entire world hostage, the world government and the Navy. He's literally killing cops. Like he's killing sea cops, and motherfuckers are like, no, that's not politics. What do you mean? That's just
It
like
is funny when you think
gunmen
about
having
it.
fun.
I mean, the thing is, like, I remember you saying this yesterday when we were having dinner, and
Because on a level, like, One Piece is goofy as shit, so it is funny when you realize, like, nah, Luffy's actually, like, wild and
it's like, I mean, I think with One Piece, just because of the art style and just the way things are, haha, funny rubber man.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, you can take it at that level, and it's still very, very interesting stories. But if you break down some of the stuff that happens, half of it is Luffy going up against a corrupt government or corrupt,
yes.
Yeah.
like, I
See,
mean,
and
like,
that's the
you-
thing,
you need to
like,
start
Start an anime analysis channel. Like,
Yeah,
I would legitimately watch like a
Garnt
15-minute
definitely
breakdown.
does, you know,
Leftist and
agree.
No,
Why
but it's
Luffy
like,
would play Hogwarts Legacy?
it's I'm not even. Well, there's
So
there's
I
trans
do.
representation.
There are two schools of thought in these clips, right, where people are upset with, and they're inherently upset with the way Trash Taste went about dealing with the repercussions of this video, because obviously Hassan is a widely hated figure, and I'm not gonna get into that. Love him or hate him, people dislike him very much. So you have to understand, the reason why people are bringing this clip back up isn't necessarily like the take itself, but it's more so the actions of Trash Taste after the episode ended.
In that too, but we're not gonna get into that right now.
Yeah.
But as far as like Oda goes, I mean, here there is the I think like Dragons. I mean, I don't want to like spoil anything, but Oda has talked about how Dragon's design was inspired in part by revolutionaries like Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
He has a Che Guevara photo in his office.
Again,
I believe.
okay.
if you don't know anything about like revolutionary thought or any sort of like actual Cold War history or anything like that, these are not figures you would have pictures of or make a character of if you didn't know who they were. And that inherently, knowing who they are means that you are taking something that is political and putting them in the story. Obviously, One Piece is obviously political.
I don't know this part yet. I'm not at that part yet, so I can't speak on this. But I think Dragon's ship is literally the same name as Fidel Castro's ship.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Oh, I didn't know that. I have to look
think
that up.
sometimes,
I don't know that though.
Especially when you see this a lot in Japanese manga. Sometimes authors will put shit in there just because it looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Nah.
Sometimes it's
Not with One
it's
Piece.
like, the curtain is blue kind of like argument. Sometimes you look at something and it's a reference to
Oh,
some
man,
Western
this is
media
bad.
or Western history, and a lot of the times it's just Japanese people find Western things that find Western things cool.
It's too many.
Yeah.
It's too many coincidences.
It is. It is way too many coincidences. I don't understand this take. A lot of people love to say, "Oh, it's not that deep." This is a fucking terrible take because everything involving human creation is inherently political because most of human creation reflects their surroundings or their environments or reflects their ideals of a world that they either want to be a part of or what they think the world is. So I don't understand this, it's not that deep. They're just doing this to, do things. And it's crazy from Garnt because right now, and this was a year or two ago, but right now Garnt has launched his own anime, and it's kind of wild to see him as a story writer say this in a way that is trying to be contrarian to the narrative that One Piece is political, because like Garnt just wrote a whole story about coming home and immigration. From what I know, I haven't seen the anime yet, but that is political. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. The Bolivarian Revolution in Cuba was conducted with a yacht that was used to transport 82 fighters of the Cuban Revolution from Mexico to Cuba.
Okay.
The yacht's name is Granma, without a D, Granma, which is the exact same name as Dragon's ship.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Come on, that's not like that. He
I
didn't just
actually
see
didn't know
It was
that.
because you have to be like really invested. You have to be a weed
Exactly.
for communism to like put that in there.
100%.
He's just honestly like with the amount of lore that One Piece has, One Piece has some of the most intricate world building in my opinion.
Yeah,
any piece of
but-
media.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't necessarily agree with his take because like Che Guevara and everything that happened, and it's not Chile. I've been saying Chile. It's Cuba. But everything that happened is kind of really whitewashed in Western society. Hello, it's me again. I just wanted to real quick explain what I mean by whitewash and why I don't agree that he's just a history nerd. While yes, if you know history, then you probably know of these things, but most likely, most people who know these things study history from a different perspective that isn't the perspective of Western society, which is why I say Western society is very whitewashed, because you don't actually learn about Fidel Castro's or Che Guevara in school. At least I didn't in my time in school. And that's what I meant. Basically alluding to that if somebody wanted to learn and know this information, they would have to go out of their own way. And while yes, I guess that kind of is, being a a nerd for history, it still proves the point though that One Piece is inherently political because Oda is making One Piece to reflect these things in our real world. So that's all I wanted to say. Back to the video.
Like it's obviously one of the most intricate worlds in anime and manga, but I think it's up there with like some of the best worlds that have been in any like book, movie, or TV series, right? And you can't do that without doing a fuck ton of history on just the history of the world. And being
For sure.
being inspired by a lot of events that might have taken place in real world history.
I'm just saying it points too many fingers in one direction.
It does.
Here's a photo from Oda's office space where he has like his airsoft guns and then like a photo of Che Guevara in there. I'm just saying.
Dude, he's come prepared.
Yo,
I have
Oda is a stone cold ass nigga. Well, I got issues with him though. That's for another episode. I definitely do want to do it. That would be a cool episode actually, talking about the sexualization of certain demographics in anime in general would actually be a really interesting video. If you guys want to see that video, go ahead and like this video and leave a comment down there letting me know. But let's get back into it because we're almost done.
There you go.
And then I can kind of give a breakdown on
Airsoft's pretty popular.
the response.
yeah.
Oh, he's still giving Oda the benefit of the doubt. He's like, he's just really into airsoft. That's all.
It's really popular here.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, so that's definitely a spicy one because like a lot of people.
So basically, that was the whole take. And the problem that people are having is their reaction towards Hassan. They banned him after a bunch of like essentially gripers were like being belligerent and brigading their videos, and then they came out and they're like, oh, we're apolitical, we don't want to get in the middle of anything, instead of like actually taking a stance on, you know, something that is objectively correct, which is that One Piece is political. That's objectively correct. And so the problem that people are having is they said, oh, we've always been apolitical, and that's not the same case for Joey. Joey has made somewhat political talking videos in the past, and there's another aspect of that, you know, regarding lolicon and whether or not that should be legalized or banned. Personally, I think it should be banned. That shit is disgusting, fucking abhorrent. That's kind of my take. I think people are very valid for feeling the way they feel about Trash Taste in this moment. I know I feel a little weird about them in this moment, especially as a big fan of Connor and Iron Mouse. You know, Connor does a lot of charity work, which is inherently a leftist thing. Like that comes from like socialization of money to get socialized research or to do some sort of mutual aid event, and that is inherently leftist. And so, you know, it does feel a little scummy because they were basically protecting the bag instead of just having like an objectively correct take. And that's why people are irritated. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And then if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, leave a comment down in the section below. Thank you guys for coming.